to the Gratitude Cafe, positive radio to feed your soul. Your dynamic host and founder, Sue Lundquist, will bring you her own intuitive talents and gifts for co-creating, healing, and teaching. Her show, The Gratitude Cafe, positive radio to feed your soul, is focused on bringing you to a higher place each week where you can leave the hustle of life at the door. So pull up a chair and join us for The Gratitude Cafe, positive radio to feed your soul.
She's right here when you need her, Benny.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Wow. We moved Morgan in. She's at Wazoo, buddy.
That's right. Congratulations and go Cougs.
Yay!
To Morgan
Yes.
and the family. I know it's kind of tough for you emotionally, but we're all going to get through this together.
Yes, and
All
then
right.
Madison will be there in January. It's super exciting.
Wow.
And, you know what, Benny? That drive, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so pretty.
Yep.
And I the whole countryside, everything over there is beautiful. It was just amazing. So thank you for everybody welcoming us into the Wazoo family. I'm getting Facebook links and all this other beautiful stuff. And it's a big, huge, beautiful family, and made me feel so welcome.
Brought back a lot of good memories, didn't it?
Oh, yes. Okay, so welcome, you guys. This is Sue Lundquist. This is the Gratitude Cafe, and we are doing live radio today. We are doing live radio readings and coaching and loving and healing. Miss Nadine is with us. Hello, my love.
Good morning.
Yay! I'm going to remind everybody that we're taking calls today, and then we're going to jump on in. We are taking calls. I'm going to give you the phone number, 1-888-298-5569, and of course, locally, 425-373-5527. I'm going to repeat those, 1-888-298-5569 or 425-373-5527. Hey, you guys have heard me all talk about my practice, my healing modality, all of that. This is a practice where I'm super, super passionate about it. I'm super passionate about helping you cross that bridge. You know, we've got so much shedding of old beliefs and fears and relationships and with ourselves and other people, and those experiences that are attached to those old habits. You need self-regulating tools to help you sustain that self-love and self-care. We all know that. So I created a curriculum I use for my one-on-one coaching. I use in my workshops. And also I created an online course, and it's called Craziness to Clarity, Your Template for Transformation, and the Essence of You program. I would love for you guys to jump on board and take the course. It's online at SueLundquist.com/C, the number 2, and C again. You will have unlimited lifetime access, over $2,000 worth of other free gifts, and you get a membership from my private Facebook group for the first 30 days for free, all from the comforts of your own home. I will let you know, though, that I am taking this out for transformation travel in 2021. We'll be in Costa Rica. We're still working on Florence, Italy for 2020. That may or may not come to fruition because of logistics and stuff, but I'm still traveling in the U.S. To make that happen as well. Take a nice deep breath. How are you? Okay, so I heard this statement, Nadine, I wanted to share it with you because it's the Gratitude Cafe, and we are serving up some quantum soup. How does that sound? I thought that was so clever. Maybe it's just me, but we're serving up the quantum soup, baby.
I like anything that has the word quantum in it.
Yeah, quantum. Massive quantum. It feels so.
Yeah.
Okay, how are you, babe? What's going on?
I'm awesome.
Yes, you had a day off of relaxation.
I had a day off yesterday, and I feel like a new person this morning. I needed that. Sometimes I have to tell myself to just do nothing. Just relax.
Yes.
I needed that because summer's coming to an end here up in Canada. We're having an early fall, and it's cold, and our summer was short. So I'm trying to get outside as much as possible.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Well, when do you guys start school up there?
September. We have a September long weekend, and then we start. So September 5th or something.
Oh, okay, yeah, same. Well, here in the Pacific Northwest, at least, I think we start the 3rd or the 4th. So it's after the Labor Day
Yeah,
weekend.
after the long weekend, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, Labor
Not
Day.
us. We start on the 28th.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
Oh. Does that evolve or change for you guys, Benny?
It's just
in your district?
a week before, so.
All right.
It's
Well,
around. Everyone's around the same 2 weeks of starting time usually.
Yeah. Okay.
I
All
always
right.
say it smells like back to school. Like in the air, I can like
Oh,
smell it.
it
Oh no, it
totally
smells
does.
like back to school.
It does. Okay, so Benny, he's a great reminder of this too. All of us, please watch the little walking legs and feet, the crosswalks. I know you guys are in a hurry, but you're never in a hurry to accidentally hit anybody. I know that sounds so awful, but please watch the crosswalks. You know, we've got kids crossing streets. We've just please be very, very mindful of that. So we've got new perspective, new thoughts, new ideas, and of course, this is a new you. If you're looking for an engaging, loving, kind, inspirational, positive radio show, that's what you're going to get here at the Gratitude Cafe. And of course, me being the host, Sue Lundquist. And I bring on beautiful guests like Nadine herself and the Dr. Joe Dispenzas of the world. And speaking of Dr. Joe Dispenza, I will be in New York. Where am I going? I'm going to Niagara Falls, New York. He's got a week long coming up in September, and then he's got another one in Malta in November, and then Cancun in December. I would love to see all of you there. Please go to www.drjoedispenza.com and get his newsletter or get on the email, because literally those week longs are selling out in like 8 to 10 minutes, if not sooner. It's crazy quick. All right, we are taking calls today. Nadine and I want to love on you guys, so make sure you guys give us a call at 1-888-298-5569, or of course locally 425-373-5527. What's been coming up for you lately, Miss Nadine?
I was actually going to talk about, I get questions on my page a lot, like just inbox messages on my page, just random questions, and sometimes I can get to them, and sometimes it takes me a while. You know me, it takes me forever to do things. But one of the questions I got was from a girl named Rebecca, and I was wondering your opinion on this, because I know my opinion, but I was going to ask you this. But she says, basically, she said, how do you tell people what you do for a living? Like when you want to take your practice to a professional level, especially being a psychic and a medium, and things like that, how do you break the news to people? And what are the effects of that? And
wow, great question. But if they're asking you already, because you and I've had this conversation before,
yes.
It's discerning, and 10, 12 years ago, we were, still in the closet having this kind of conversation. I remember starting the radio show back then and having these types of conversations about spirituality, about psychic ability and the mediumship. And it was still kind of taboo and had that weird kind of connotation to it, And if somebody's already opened the door and asking for it, there's already a yes, if that makes sense. If people are going to ask you what you're doing or what you do on a just completely blank slate, because I have that all the time, with my, and where it travels and all over. And I'm honest. I'm absolutely transparent. Absolutely.
Right. I know. But,
right. But why? Why do you say that?
Well, the thing is that it comes down to people's belief systems always. And it's like we've talked about before, it's not our job to make people believe in what we do.
No.
But it's not like one of those things where you're like, I'm a hairdresser. Okay, I understand hairdresser. You're a hairdresser, right? I understand that. But when you tell people I'm a psychic medium, if there's somebody who's open to it, they always come forward, like step forward and want to know more.
Yes.
And then I get the ones who is like, I'm a psychic medium, and they go, oh, okay. And they
run for the hills.
And then
or they're like,
take a step backwards.
Yeah. Oh, I love, but you know what? That's a really good conversation to have, sweetheart, because you and I have talked about this, and talking about this meaning, let's educate you and the audience, for those that may be new listeners or just questioning about where we get our information, how we get our information, because I think that's really important. And anything and everything that I have ever experienced when I am sensing, talking, smelling, seeing has been of the divine and the most highest of quality energy that I'm going to allow in my realm. That it's just divine energy. It's all in pure love. And that's the only thing that I allow in my sphere, right? So
Right.
the information and the conversations that we're having with those that have crossed over is all in divine love. It's just, and the personification in Hollywood has got this great, and it's the media, it's the news. Everybody's got their opinion or their vision of what some of that looks like, but that's Hollywood, that's the media. They need to make it sexy, they need to make it scary, because people will, want that, what's the word I'm looking for, want that reaction, or what's that word, when you're overstimulated.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what Hollywood does. So all of that stuff that you see on TVs and the movies is not truth. It's not our reality. What do you say about that, Miss Nadine?
Well, you know what? I am thankful that we're at the time that we are right now, and I'm thankful for the Sylvia Browns, the Teresa Caputos, the
Oh,
Carmel Bairds of the world, that expose themselves on TV and put that out there so that they could pave the way for
mm-hmm.
other people, right? So that it's because when stuff is on TV and people are seeing it, it kind of puts it out there and it makes it more normal. I should say, like, more normal with
Yeah, as
quotation
normal
marks.
as that can be.
But at least it's out there, right? And it's showing people like, yes, there are people like this. It's showing people like ourselves, oh, okay, I can have a mentor. I can have someone to look up to in order to do these things. It's not as scary as it seems. And what I tell people, though, is, like, for myself personally, I remember, see, I grew up in a house of psychic mediums, and I grew up in a haunted house, and I thought all houses were haunted and things like that. But what my parents would say to us is, okay, we can talk about it like in this house, but don't ever say anything outside this house, because people
Mm.
will think you're crazy. So I was brought up with, like, you don't tell anybody anything or people will think you're crazy. And my sisters, like, sometimes my sisters are still like, I don't know, I can't say anything. They'll think I'm crazy.
Oh,
Where I'm
but
past that point, right? I'm past that point because I do this every day. And so I'm past that point. I'm like, do you think I'm crazy? Good for you. See you next time.
yes, yes.
It doesn't bother me anymore. But I do have a lot of my students in the past who really struggle, especially when they come from really religious families,
Oh,
who
yes. Oh,
don't
yes.
believe, and they're told that stay away from the naysayers or whatever the word is in the Bible. They basically think that we do the devil's work or something. And I said, well, how can we be doing the devil's work when we only work in light and love, and we're
And
trying
it,
to help people,
and
right?
again, that's a control thing from the church or the personification of Hollywood. It's such a controlled substance, not a controlled substance, but
Well, it's fear
it's
based,
fear
right?
based, and
Yeah.
that's where I was going. And it's the fear of the unknown. How
Yeah.
about just getting, and you heard me say this, have the CCs in life, just get compassion, have some compassion and curiosity, get curious, open your mind and your heart to other possibilities.
Absolutely. But also with this, with if you're going into this to do it professionally, or you want to be out there, let's say, out there,
Yes.
um, be prepared, though, to not only get lots of new people coming in, so you're going to get like-minded people, you're going to get a new tribe, because you're going to be vibrating at a higher frequency, right? So you're going to
Yep.
attract people, but you're also most likely, hopefully not, but most likely you might lose people, that
Yeah.
don't have the same belief systems, especially like this girl Rebecca. She comes from a very religious family, and who basically are turning their back on her. But I said,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you have to be true to yourself. Like, if you feel like this is your calling, this is your interest, this is where the direction you want to go, you just got to go for it. It's your life.
Absolutely. Oh, girl, you're speaking my language. You know this because this is what I teach and what I talk about in my curriculum and the craziness to clarity. It is that because we're shedding old limiting beliefs, people, relationships, all of that. And with that comes the fear of, well, have I done something wrong because they're leaving? Or why are they leaving? Is it because of me? And it's not. You've got to be able to stand in your power, in your purpose, and to have real life practical tools to help you do that. And it sounds like a sales plug, but I'm telling you, I walk the talk. You and I have gone through this course, but it's so true. It's people that are coming into their spiritual awakening. It's people that are reinventing themselves. It's people that are shedding of old beliefs and old selves, and they need to know who their new essence is, and to have the confidence and purpose to stand in that new essence, right? And to be confident about it.
Well, absolutely. And I think everything happens as it's supposed to. You know how we are when we're working, especially when we're working with spirit and things like that, and seeing how people's lives unfold. And, I talk to people who are on the other side all the time. And so they're constantly teaching. With every reading I'm giving, they're teaching me, they're teaching the person across from me. They're always teaching, right?
Yes.
And one of the biggest things they teach is everything happens as it's supposed to.
Oh,
Right?
yes,
So,
and surrender and trust.
right, surrender and trust, like we always talk about, right?
Oh, yes.
And that's hard. That's really hard coming from especially coming from an ego, like egos, right? Like we want to come from ego. We're having a human experience. This feels like our first time here, even though it's not. It feels like it, right? So we're always trying to figure things out. But once you get to a certain point, and like I've come to a certain point, is you just understand that people will come and go as they're supposed to. You will release things as you're supposed to, and try not to hold on to things so tightly, because you need to kind of go with the flow. And I know it's hard for some people. It is. It's hard for myself sometimes to understand that, but I do understand that. And so I do, at the end of the day, let some things go easier than others, but you just go with the flow.
Yes. So, okay. And yeah, I know I'm talking about my program a lot, but we talk about this. It's so, so important. And we have the conversation, and I'm getting to the important part. So we have the conversation about 3D and 5D, right? Yes. And I'm answering your question about, or making a comment about going with the flow. Yes, we have to be able to go with the flow. However, in 3D world, we got practicality. You know how I'm deep seated in practicality, even though I'm also massively in love with 5D. Deep seated in practicality means we pay bills, we have kids to raise, we have limiting beliefs to shed, we have people that are grumpy or talking bad to us. And with that, we need to be able to language and to take care of ourselves and put up boundaries. And also, when you are really clear in 3D in this real life practical world, you just get really clear on who you are, how you're showing up in the world, and what your boundaries are. I'm sorry, excuse me. And then that's when you release. That is when you're like, okay, I'm going to surrender to the divine. I'm going to release my expectations, because that's contraction. I know who I am. I'm standing in my confidence and purpose from above the line mentality, not the ego stuff. And now I am going to stay in that love frequency, that confidence frequency, above the line mentality, not below the line. And then I'm going to keep that frequency high and attract those like-minded people, so I can keep having those new experiences of like-minded people and grow and expand from those new experiences.
And exactly. And like you say, with the clarity of who you are. And that can be evolving and changing.
Yes.
Correct? Right?
Heavens, yes.
Changing. But knowing who you are in that moment, and also knowing, so actually, this is my question. So knowing who you are in the moment. So let's say I know who I am, therefore I have a clear understanding of what maybe I like or don't like, and maybe the direction that I'm going. So if I'm going in a certain direction, or I want to achieve and be more like this in my future self, am I still accepting of myself
Yes.
now?
Yes. Because you're standing in your truth. You're standing in your purpose. And of course, you're going to always desire, and I use the word desire more versus wanting more, because wanting is a need or a contraction. I desire to have XYZ. I desire to have more abundance, and that's totally fine. Did that answer your question?
Right. So yes, exactly. So my future self is still myself.
Yes,
I'm
because
still
you're standing in your power, you're standing in your confidence, you're standing clearly in who you are. And of course, you're still going to have experiences that's going to expand you even more as you create the experiences of opportunity that you want, that you desire, from an expanded above the line mentality, mentality, essence of who you are. Versus if you come across, if you're in contraction mode and I want this and I don't have that, you're going to get more of that.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. And you know that, like,
Oh gosh.
Right? And
I know.
Like,
I know. That's the work, sister. That's the practice. Oh,
you're like, something shows up in your life. I'm like, oh, I know why it's here.
Yes, I got to learn that. And thank you for that, Nadine, because that's a really good message. Because when there is something, in quotations, you guys can't see me because we're on radio, but if there is a person, if there's a situation, if there is an attitude, if there's a limiting belief, if there's a fear that keeps showing up for you, it's because you need to learn what that's teaching you. So again, have the CCs in life, get really curious and about the situation, because that kind of takes the sting out of what's happening, and then get compassionate for yourself and other people. Again, those are above the line frequencies and energies versus, oh, I'm going to contract and I'm going to get angry and I'm so scared and this is freaking me out. Although that stuff does happen. I walk my talk. We've all heard that. But if you can come from a space of, compassionate curiosity, it's just going to be so much easier and to sustain that frequency.
I have another question for you, Sue.
Yes, my love.
I love
these questions. I could do this all day long.
I'm picking your brain.
I love it.
So I have a question. So we work really hard to stay in a higher frequency. We're working hard for that because we like feeling that vibration and being that person, and that's who we are. Why is it then we can still attract negativity into our lives sometimes? So, for example, I'm really positive about a lot of things. I don't feel lack ever, like lack of love or lack of finances or lack in any area of my life. I just don't feel that feeling. Yet I attract people in my life who are lacking everything.
Well, go ahead, finish your thought.
Well, they're lacking everything. Like, I have people, of course, who don't lack, but I have a lot of people around me who I'm very loyal to and who I've known forever, but I can see why they have lack, right? I can see it. They're negative. It's all they talk about is lack of. But why are they still in my realm, or why is that conversation coming to me still?
Well, beautiful question. I love it. Okay, so there's a few things that I'm going to say here, and this is for everybody. So you're also in the healing realm. So there's got to be some boundaries around those types of people, and languaging those boundaries. We've spoken about that. And two, look at how you're enabling the behavior. Look at how you're enabling them to stay in that state. And if those people are really somebody that you want to have close to you in your life. There's this not rule of thumb, but I don't know what I'm going to call it, but you've got people that you literally will allow in your bedroom. You will have people that you allow at your kitchen table. You have people that you allow in your family room. And then there's those people that are on the front porch. And then there's those people that are out on the grass in the lawn. And then there's the people at the mailbox way out there. And then there's people all the way to the moon. So you've got to look at where you're at in your frequency and where you and how you want to show up in that frequency, and decide If you want them at the moon, you want them in your family room. And if you want them, if they're important enough to you to have them in your family room, then I would suggest or invite you to have the boundary conversation with them. If this person is important to you, and likewise it's reciprocated, then the conversation around boundaries and how, hey, you know what? This is how I'm living my life. I want you a part of my life, but this conversation, this negativity cannot be a part of it. I don't like the gossip. I don't like all of that negativity. If we're going to be together, which it's important to me that we are, we need to change our dialogue. We need to change that habit because I don't want to show up like that with us.
Right. What if it's your husband or your wife?
Same thing. Same thing. Same thing.
You did well, yeah, because it's like gossip. If you don't want to talk, I have really strong boundaries on that kind of stuff and negativity. Yeah, but it's hard to see somebody that you're very loyal to and that you love completely struggling, because especially when I'm such a nurturer, right? And I want to problem solve.
Oh, girl, you're talking the same. I absolutely get that. And there will come a point where the rubber meets the road.
Yes.
And you will have to choose your own. And you know what? I love this because my card that I pulled today is the squirrel spirit. They wanted me to pull animals, and it's all about believing in yourself and self-love. So the bottom line to all of this is really getting clear on who you are and the types of people and the frequency that you want to show up. What opportunities, what frequency, how do you want to show up in the world? And with that frequency becomes more opportunities, right? And if it's self-love above the line, whether it's a spouse, an in-law, a parent, a brother, a sister, you then have to make, quite honestly, some really tough 3D choices. And I'm crossing that bridge right now myself. And I empathize and I have deep compassion for all of you, including yourself, Nadine. And I love that question. It's so right now and so profound and powerful for so many people, because it is. Well, what if it's my husband? What if it's my wife? What if it's my spouse? Guess what? You, in that moment, are being taught how to stand up for yourself. You are in that moment learning how to self-love and to put up boundaries.
Right, because you don't want to be in the lower vibration. I don't want that lower vibration. And some people, they're stuck in the loop, right?
Oh gosh,
they're stuck in the loop of lack, of
it's their habit. It's what they know. Yeah, of course.
And they feel that it's their reality. Like I always get that. I'm like, well, you could change it with, you shouldn't keep repeating that. And then they're like, but that's reality. That's what they come back to me. A lot of people come back at that.
You
right?
and I've had that
but
conversation.
That's reality.
Oh yeah, but
and
it's
I'm like,
not.
No, that's your reality.
That's your reality. If you want to change it, but this is a really good conversation, because that right there in its essence, because they think that they not only do they think, they feel it in their body. It's their biology. They literally feel that is their reality. Yes. Literally. And Dr. Joe is a master at this. This is his specialty. And he's done extensive testing, massive testing, brain testing, DNA testing, proving, you guys, not just from a 5D, meditation and, all the, the expansion, the expanded language that we're talking about. He has proven that you can change. I'm going to use his book title. You can change the habit of being yourself. He's proven it. He has done this research to prove that you can change your reality. And it's not woo-woo, but it's crossing the bridge, right? Nadine, you've got to, one, have the awareness that it's even happening instead of denial, right? Because we're really good about denial, because that's our old habit. That's what feels normal. That's what feels right.
Absolutely. And and like you said, it all comes down to standing in it comes right back to standing in your own power.
And your own love above the line,
creating from that point of power, knowing yourself, knowing what it is you want, and then maybe it's, when you really stand in that power, then the boundaries are easier to set.
So
as
let's
well.
talk. This is beautiful. So let's talk about standing in your power, because something or someone's asking this question. I can feel it. Standing in your power means coming from above the line. Now, you guys hear me talk about above the line. Above the line is in love, is in gratitude, is in compassion. So retraining and regaining your personal power from above the line essence is what we're talking about. We're not talking about below the line, standing in your power. You are, standing there like you're throwing a tantrum. You are not going to talk to me like that. It's completely different. Above the line, my language is coming at or with your situation or anybody else out there from a compassionate curiosity, love, and gratitude point of view or essence or frequency. Because that, even though the other person might be showing up differently, you're still setting an incredible example, and you're holding the frequency. You hear us talk about holding the space. You're holding the frequency. You're holding the space of love and compassion. So if somebody's losing their shiitake mushrooms, you can stand there and hold the space of love and gratitude of above the line. You know what? We're chatting and it's break time. It's already 8:30. Penny, should we take a quick commercial break and then we'll come back and continue with above the line conversation? Nadine, what do you think, love?
Sounds good to me.
All right, Benny, let's take a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to keep talking about above the line stuff. And I got to tell you about this little squirrel spirit and believing in yourself. All right, you guys, love you. And we'll see you after the break.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.
Hi, this is Dr. Joe Dispenza. I wanted to take a moment and let you know about a nonprofit organization called Give to Give. The Give to Give Foundation was created by a group of people who have studied my work or have participated in my workshops around the world. And by applying the principles of mind over matter and the mind-body connection, they've created outstanding changes in their lives or in their health, and they wanted to give back. The organization is dedicated to providing the proper resources to those people in need to gain the opportunity to learn exactly how to change their body or their lives. If you want to learn more about the Give to Give Foundation, or you know someone that needs help, or you simply want to make a donation, visit givetogive.com. Those who give don't always know how to love. Those who love always know how to give. Thank you.
Right now, Doctors Without Borders medical teams are operating in some of the most remote and dangerous corners of the world. When front yards become front lines, when disaster erupts, when disease rages, when communities collapse under crisis, at the crossroads of conflict and epidemic, where there are no hospitals, that's where we operate. We go where conditions are the worst because that's where we're needed most. In nearly 70 countries, we're saving lives threatened by violence, disease, malnutrition, and catastrophic events. Donors are vital to our mission. Your response is critical to our response in places where few others will go. That's where we operate. Learn more at doctorswithoutborders.org.
Alternative Talk 1150. We're on your radio at 1150 a.m. We're on your HD radio at 98.9 Channel 3.
So many ways to listen.
We're on the web at 1150kknw.com, streaming live audio and video as well as MP3 archives of many of our shows.
So many ways to listen.
And now, we're on your smartphone or tablet. Download our free app in the Apple App Store or Google Play and take Alternative Talk 1150 anywhere you go.
So many ways to listen.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/1150kknw.
I love that song. Benny, thank you, sweetheart.
Welcome.
All right, thank you. All right, guys. So myself and Nadine, have been talking really juicy, yummy stuff here, you guys. If you're just tuning in, silly you, make sure you get a copy of this show and go back, because this is my platform where I can bring myself and Nadine on for free, you guys. This is your free coaching, your free education, your free readings. And this is an incredible platform that I am honored to provide all of you, so we can talk about new perspectives, new thoughts, new ideas, and ultimately a new revised you, whether it's spiritual awareness. You know, at the break, we were talking about Gus. This is your spiritual awareness, could be something like chopsticks, or it could be Gus, God, universe, spirit, whatever that feels right to you, and it keeps you above the line. Again, the first half of this show we were talking about, and right before break, we were talking about the ability, the self-maintenance, the self-regulation of staying above the line, and real life 3D. We 3D stuff. We got bills. We got kids. We got attitudes. We've got all kinds of fears and limiting beliefs that we need to self-regulate and manage. And in part, not in part, that's why I created my curriculum. That's why I am so passionate about my coaching. And when we are in fight or flight, when we are in that state, we do not have the capacity to do a Rubik's Cube. We just cannot. We're overwhelmed. So I created these real life practical tools, mindset strategies, all of this to help you from a 3D standpoint, but also then when you go to 5D, when you do your meditation practice, when you tap into the frequencies, you have a clear, grounded understanding of who you are and where you're coming from, and then you can completely surrender to the divine love from a 5D perspective, and that is explosive transformation. Now, when at the break we were talking about trust, and I love that this theme, Nadine, because the card that I was pulling was believing in yourself and self-love, and that's been the theme of our conversation today, which is awesome. Do you have any more questions about above the line, or do you want to jump into trust?
I just wanted to say one thing before, because it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, having boundaries.
Oh, yes.
And I'm going to flip it to the side of, when somebody's negative, they might have a boundary with you being positive around them. And I've had that, just as hard as it is for, somebody, vibrating at a higher frequency than someone, they're bringing you down. It's exhausting. They might be sucking the life out of you or whatever it is. And you have that boundary. The same can be said for the other way around. It could be annoying to them.
Well, annoying is not a boundary. Annoying is below the line. That is them being in fear because you are showing up in a different frequency, and that's freaking them out. In layman terms, it's not even a boundary. It's just them going, well, there was let me think about this for a minute, but what's the quote? People are fearful of you because you're showing up how they think they should be. There's something there that I'm going to have to work on that. There was something like that. But I love that question, Nadine, because, of course they're annoyed, because that's not how they're showing up. They should be, because we all know that that's a better frequency. We all know that that's a better way to be, because when they stay in that lower below the line frequency of fear, annoyance, resentment, they're going to keep getting more of that.
Exactly. And even them say, for example, I've had people say to me, well, you have a beautiful life, or you have such an easy life. That's why you can be positive all the time. And they honestly believe that because they don't understand. Why are you so happy? Why are you positive? And the thing is my life is not easier than anyone else's. I still have trial, ups and downs and all around, but I always look for the light. That has been my whole life has been that. Just look for the light. Just keep in the light. Look for the light. Even when you're in total darkness, know the light is there. Right?
It is a choice. It is a choice.
And I look for the silver lining in everything. I have to. That's how I get through this world. That's how I do this human experience. That's how I stay positive, is because I'm always looking for the silver lining, or the small things bring me happiness. When I get into the darkness, I start, like we said, I watch the baby animal videos. I go pet a goat.
Yeah.
whatever it is that keeps me in that above the line, like you say.
Yes. And I was just having this conversation with a friend of mine, and she had gotten some bad news, and she's like, Sue, do you have a minute? I'm like, absolutely, baby, let's get on the phone. And she just needed, because you go down that rabbit hole. It's very easy. You can go down that rabbit hole because that has been your norm until you can get to a place where your new habit is above the line. You have to have the awareness. We talked about that at the beginning of the hour, because that, and that's the first and foremost thing that I teach and talk about in the curriculum is awareness. Because so many of us are so distracted because of media, life, all of the 3D stuff, and denial. Like we talked about, Nadine, the old habits and the old beliefs and limiting beliefs that we have that we think is our norm. Just like you said, you choose to stay above the line. You choose when something perceived as negative. I don't. I think it's an opportunity. I take every conversation, every interaction as an opportunity. I really, really do. I look at it, and it all happens within a split second. So you have a choice to react. You have a choice to have CCs in life. You have the choice. You can stand there purposefully. You can stand there confidently and all above the line. But even before all of that, you have to have the awareness of how you're showing up in the world, how you want to be perceived showing up, not how you want to be perceived, because that's putting it on somebody else. It's you making the choice and getting clear on the essence of you, how you are showing up. And you know what else, love? This is really important, because you and I talked about discernment, and within our 5D realm and talking about psychic ability and intuition and being so empathic. If you are going into the healing realms or the healing modalities, you have got to be, if you want to have a clear channel and if you want to give your clients the best service that you can and show up and be the best service that you can, you have to be able to discern what's coming in from the energies and frequencies and yourself. So being very clear on who you are as you start your intuition practice is super important. So the tools that I give you, the curriculum and the teaching that I offer, all does that, whatever modality it is, even in professional business too, team leadership or productivity. This is super important that you know who you are, how you're showing up in the world, and languaging boundaries around that. It's so vital. I kind of went on a soapbox, didn't I? I just love talking about this, honey.
I know I can feel your passion, but the thing is, I get so wrapped up in listening to you, like I forget I'm on a radio show.
Oh,
I love it. I'm so focused.
I love talking about it. And thank you for receiving it, because it's so passionate, and it comes from a heart-centered space, because I needed to create this for myself. And what's that saying? You teach most what you need to learn.
Yes.
In all transparencies, brothers and sisters and mamas and daddies. Oh yeah. Because I was below the line for so many years, and victimhood and shame and guilt and all of that. But now I'm in such an expanded awareness. I can see when that stuff comes up. And if I don't see it, then I go to a trusted friend and go, okay, I need some compassion and love. Can you help me find this blind spot in a space of love and trust, not from ego? And that's important too. And having those people in that community in your life that you can trust to do that.
Absolutely. And when dealing with people, like I was saying, in my experience, having these people with lack around me, and it's hard because I've been there. I can empathize. I have compassion for them. I know what it's like, but I can also see the choices they've made to get them there.
Yep.
Right. And so as much as I have compassion for them, there is a solution. And that's the thing. I'm like, there always is. I can find a solution. I always feel like, there's a solution. Change your attitude, change your choices, things like that. And and they don't necessarily want to hear that. So I'm getting really good at
Of course not, because they're still in denial.
yes, right.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. Whether you meant to ask it or not, but that is an invitation. So when if I'm in a conversation, I work very hard to ask them, do I have your permission? So this is really beautiful. When I team lead for Dr. Joe Dispenza, there's a few things there's two most specific things that I ask when I'm in front of my 60 some odd people. One, I'm extremely vulnerable. I make mistakes, and I'm open my heart to all of them. And two, the number one thing I ask, and I look them in the eyes and I ask them, I say, please, or do I ask them, may I have your permission to love on you for the next week? And that just blows their heart wide open, and it gives their energy, their frequency, their soul, and their psyche to trust and know that I'm here to just love on them. So I guess what I'm saying with that is take that into your life here too, but also with boundaries, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And be invited. In my conversations, I'm like, all right, I ask. I said, do I have your permission to tell you X, Y, and Z? Is that what you're asking? Do you want me to hold, I love that conversation that you're saying about the I call them the negative Nellies, or the Eeyores. The Eeyores of the world that will never make it. Oh. And it's the Eeyore syndrome, because they're stuck in that. And you know what? There's no judgment coming for me, because I've been there, and I would have loved to have had somebody to just kind of hold space for me, not enable me, hold space and make me accountable. And there were a few people in our lives that did that, whether we were willing to hear it or not. But those Eeyores in our lives, they're spinning in their stuff, and you just got to love and blessing, and just keep showing up above the line. Just keep showing up as your expanded, confident, purposeful self. It's
right.
so
and
important.
to still be yourself when you're around those people.
Oh my gosh, yes. But
right. And stand in your power, and whether they like it or not, you have to stay in your frequency, right? Even if that
do not diminish. Oh my gosh, yes. That's a great question, Nadine. Yes, ask yourself and the people that are listening, where do you and who do you diminish yourself with? Yes. Meaning, where do you, literally what that question is, where do you diminish yourself? Where do you give your power away? Where do you get small? And then make the choice, and this is a tough choice, you will have to leave that situation. You will have to leave that relationship if they're not willing to come to an elevated place of where you want to go.
Exactly.
And yes.
And so I know that feeling, because what I'll do is I will pull back from them or limit my interaction with them. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like that's what I do personally in order to save my energy and to stay above the line. I will limit my interactions, or I will change the subject, change the topic, whatever it is I have to do in order to stand in my power and stay where I want to be.
But do you want to spend the rest of your life doing that?
No.
So why, and I love your vulnerability and your honesty, sweetheart, but if it becomes a point where you're constantly, when you're in that situation, you're constantly on eggshells. You're constantly having to monitor what you're doing, what you're saying, and how they're reacting. So why would you want to put yourself in a situation like that for the rest of your life? At that point, you choose the types of environment and the types of people that are going to be allowed in your environment. It's just, and that's you standing in self-love. That's
exactly.
You believing in yourself, right? You or anybody listening, right?
Yes. And since taking your course, especially because you've known over the years, it's always boundaries with me. That's it's the boundaries. Yes. But I'm getting really good at saying, I'm not having this conversation.
Oh, dang.
Right? Because it's it's a loop, right? Like with family members, with best friends, with whoever it is. I'm very good now at saying I'm not having this conversation, setting a boundary, and of course they're going to push it because that's their loop.
That's
well,
their
no,
MO.
because it's their loop, right?
Yes.
And what happens is that the more often I say nope, I'm not having this conversation, and I'm protecting my energy. We can talk about anything else you want to talk about, not this.
And you're creating a new neural pathway. You're creating a new frequency. You're creating a new experience for everybody that's involved in that conversation. And you can build the self-trust and the confidence and the purpose on that new experience because of how you're showing up at that elevated frequency. Boom!
Well, boom.
Boom!
Well, absolutely. You should have like an applause button.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it's a really good conversation to have because I'm sure, lots of listeners right now have that person or people within their lives when they're trying to get into a higher frequency. We need these boundaries in order to not keep pulling us back down there.
Oh, yeah, boundaries and self-regulation tools.
Yes.
For your mindset. Self-regulating tools to sustain your mindset. And it is that. It's little itty bitty things that, that you can do during the day. Like you and I talk about, if we start going down that rabbit hole, it's a choice. Okay. All right, I'm going to do that rabbit hole for just a minute, but that's it. And then I'm going to go to my inspirational books, my inspirational videos, my person that I need to talk to help me get out of that rabbit hole. But I'm going to employ all of my self-regulating tools to create a different frequency within my body, to create a different experience, and to change that habit. Because my body somehow is getting some kind of charge, something's happening, and I don't want to keep experiencing that. I don't want to keep firing. Oh, I'm using Dr. Joe's language. Keep firing.
Can I interrupt there, ladies?
Yes,
I'm sorry. We have a caller waiting for the last couple minutes. Can we sneak on Noelle from New Jersey real fast?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes.
Noelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hello, Noelle. Welcome, love.
Hi, Sue. I was waiting for you guys to say you would take a call, and then I thought maybe they're not going to say it. So sorry it's so late in the call.
Oh, no. Come on in. Well, we just started talking and yakking and then, I opened up the phone
let's
lines
get to it. We only got a couple of minutes. Let's get right to it.
What's your question, Noelle?
The question is, so I'm coming off of a couple of years that were challenging. Through it, great, awesome. I am creating 3 streams of income at the moment that allow me to sort of still be around for my son, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess the question is just some affirmations or some guidance about where I'm at and what I'm doing with that. Do we need to expand more on that, or is that enough?
Nadine?
There's a 4th stream of income coming.
Really? This is great.
I'd be stoked about that.
Yay!
Wow. Okay. Fascinating. All right.
Awesome.
Is that the answer to your question of should I be doing more?
Oh.
Well,
but at Grayson-ese.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to be able to do all this and still maintain what I need to do as a mom.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I hear a yes.
Yes,
because that's
too.
how
And
you
it's
set
not
it up.
It's not a stressful stream. So whatever it is that you're doing right now in order to create what you're creating, keep it up because you're doing an awesome job and it's just going to be creating more and more of that. So you're going to have more abundance and more time for your son. So you're getting both at the same time.
Okay.
Ooh, that's how you set it up though, girl. Look what you just created. Look
this
at that.
Just creating. This has been a while, but it's been years. But it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah.
And then one of my
keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're good.
One of the things I'm creating is a business with my daughter, and I just want to get some guidance on that too. That's a good thing for her. that's a good
Yep,
thing for us.
It's going to be great. It's very successful. There will be a little bit of course, there's going to be some things to work out, like within it. You guys might have a little disagreements here and there, but definitely I'm getting a yes, a strong yes, and this is a really good direction for you.
Very good direction. Get very clear on your boundaries and expectations. Write them down, talk about them, open communication. That is our show for today, you guys. Self-love, believe in yourself. If you want more information about my craziness to clarity, go to SueLundquist.com/C2C. Of course, just send me a note, sign up for the newsletter. We will see you guys next week. Until then, each of you are a gift. Get out there and share yourself with the world.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call. If you like the show, help more people find us by adding your review of the show on iTunes. The more reviews we get, the more people we can reach with this inspiring message on the Gratitude Cafe. Simply search for Gratitude Cafe in iTunes, hit subscribe, and add your honest review. It would help us immensely and we'll be forever grateful. It's one of the best ways you can give back to the show with your review. Thanks for tuning in to the Gratitude Cafe. Don't forget, every week is a new show, and you could submit your questions at SueLundquist.com/Gratitude Cafe. The show goes live at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in Seattle on Seattle's Alternative Talk AM 1150. You can also call in to the show at 425-373-5527 or 888-298-5569. Find the live streaming link at SueLundquist.com/Gratitude Cafe. We'll see you next week.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of KKNW, its management, or other advertisers. Contests are the responsibility